They enter with expectations.
There's an excitement and an energy around the ACC tournament.
Internal and external.
It's about one of the most special events that you're ever going to play in.
It can lift them up or weigh them down.
Williamson, long three to maybe win it. It's over. In it. 2/10 of a second. Who's gonna go
No greater feeling.
There's no greater feeling than to win the ACC tournament.
The history.
Notre Dame wins it.
The legacy.
He got it.
The moments.
You ACC championship, man.
The ACC Men's Basketball Tournament.
This is ESPN's Champ Week presented by Principal. Our second quarterfinal coming your way. You're watching the New York Life ACC Men's Basketball Tournament. We are set to put another team into the semifinals inside the Greensboro Coliseum. Number 4 seed Duke facing number 5 seed Pitt. Miami just defeated Wake Forest, so we check out the bracket tonight at 7 on ESPN. Number 2, Virginia taking on number 7 North Carolina. 9:30, number 3 seed Clemson and NC State. Well, number 1 seed Miami survived today. They're into the semifinals. Game at noon today. Brandon Miller and company. Isaiah Wong as well. Those two stars from Miami did their thing. Miller leading the way with 18. Wake Forest came back from 18 down to make a game of it. In the end, Miami survives to advance. Dave O'Brien alongside Corey Alexander. Andrea Carter joining us as well. Youth has been served for the Duke Blue Devils. Certainly Kyle Filipowski, the Rookie of the Year. He's had a terrific season.
He absolutely has, and he had a terrific game against the Pitt Panthers the last time these two teams got together. 28 points, 15 rebounds for Filipowski, and he was a dominant force on the interior for the Blue Devils in that matchup. But Jamarius Burton, a first-team All-ACC performer, has been spectacular this year, as Burton has been the guy who's been able to be more of a playmaker for Pittsburgh. Not as much of a scorer, even though he does go ahead and get 16 points a game as well. Not the leading scorer for his team, but absolutely the heart and soul behind the Panthers.
Hinson, Burton, Cummings, Elliott, a lot of new faces. New additions through the transfer portal. They have really paid off for Jeff Capel and the Pitt Panthers. As Duke wins the opening tip, we are underway in our second quarterfinal of the day. Up top for Mitchell. Really been an underrated guy, I think, in the ACC this year. Lively will kick it out. Filipowski open and knocks down a triple, and a great way for Duke to start.
It's an absolute great start for the Blue Devils, especially considering they did not play yesterday where the Panthers did. So to be able to see the basketball go through the hoop early is a plus.
We saw that early with Miami today. Bit of a choppy start. They did get rolling. Elliott with a pull-up pop. That won't drop. Mitchell with the rebound. We were talking with John Shire earlier today. He really centered on Mark Mitchell as a guy that people should be talking a lot more about.
Well, Mark Mitchell has been their most consistent first-year player when you consider the fact that what he does offensively and defensively, even though he didn't get any of the ACC honors, Coach Shire recognizes his value.
Filipowski again. Boy, does he love this start. Back-to-back threes.
And you can tell the Blue Devils are prepared for this matchup as we get an opportunity to see the Pittsburgh starting 5. Federico 7 for 7 from the field yesterday.
Yeah, he had 19. Burton inside, no. Marius Burton averaging 16 a game, at a good one against Georgia Tech, 21. Filipowski, you got
to let it fly, Obi. You knocked down 2 already.
Yeah.
You get the heat check. You burned it.
Roach to the big. No place to go there. Shot clock is at 7. Mitchell in close. What a quick start for Duke.
You couldn't have asked for a better start. And that's one of the things that we talked with John Shire this morning. He told us it's important for us to get off to a good start. We know that Pitt has already established a rhythm. They scored 89 points last night. They're familiar with the arena.
We said, are you playing your best basketball this season? He said, absolutely. So many things coming together right now, including good health for the Duke Blue Devils. Burton can't hit. And Pitt still getting shut out. Proctor, Filipowski thought about another 3. Big guy Henson goes down.
But more importantly, Filipowski turned his ankle on that play. He's down right now, out of the action.
And an official timeout. And Kyle Filipowski has nailed a couple of threes here early and gripping his leg. It looked like he just said to Lively, "I'm all right." And now up on his feet, or at least one.
You see that left ankle roll a bit. Oh, that's even more than a bit. That's the second time. It actually rolled twice on that possession. Henson looking to the official for a call as Filipowski's going after the basketball. But once he corralled the basketball, unable to put much weight on it going down. And after the great start from the ACC's Rookie of the Year, he's going to have to check out and have the injury tended to.
Boy, we've seen a lot of that in this tournament, haven't we? Guys rolling ankles.
Yeah, game one, we saw two Florida State Seminoles turn their ankles. Matthew Cleveland and both Baba Miller having to leave in the first half.
Roach will swing it. Whitehead fires and on target with a three.
So what do? You take out one of the top freshmen in the country and you bring in another one off the bench who steps up and knocks down a three in his place.
11-0 Duke. Not slowing down in the least without Filipowski. We'll get you an update as soon as we can on Kyle. Henson with a shot in the air, well short. Whitehead on the attack. Lively. And a whistle there as he draws the foul. They have removed the shoe and the sock. We can see that from here. Filipowski. 16:45 to go first half. And Federico with his first foul. Lively 63% at the line, the freshman from New Jersey.
We mentioned Filipowski with 28 points, 15 rebounds in the first matchup versus Duke. So when you ask the question, where do you get that offense from with Filipowski out now on the bench? But you also have to throw in the fact that Jeremy Roach, who has led the Blue Devils in scoring 7 of their last 10 games, did not play in that matchup versus Pittsburgh. So they have even more offensive firepower right now. And that's another one of the things John Shire told us. The offense is now starting to catch up with their defense, which has been dominant all season long.
Roach, honorable mention, all ACC, nearly doubled his ACC scoring average from a year ago. 12-0 Duke. Panthers will take anything they can get right now. 22 wins, 10 losses during the regular year. Burton trying to get to the paint. Off the fake and draws the foul. Jamarius Burton, 16 points a game, named to the All-ACC first team. And draws the foul on Proctor.
And Tyrese Proctor did his job on that possession. He bailed Burton out with the foul. What Proctor did not realize is he has an elite shot blocker standing behind him in Derek Lively. So he does not need to foul on that possession.
Lively 67 blocks, which was the third most by a Duke freshman.
In limited minutes as well. He's starting to get healthy, get things going for himself offensively and defensively as well. Still a all-defensive member, all-ACC defensive team member this year, even though he played the first half of the season not 100%.
Nike Sabandi on now, the senior for the Pitt Panthers, 6th man of the year in the ACC. And they could use the help. They finally get on the scoreboard. 12-2 Blue Devils. Here's Roach. Proctor looking for a screen. Lively came up and then rolled. Over the top, here's Mitchell. Shot clock is a factor down to 4. And a rebound by Burton, who gets 5 a game. He can be a big-time scorer. There's Lively with his swat. Whitehead with a kick out. And they move it around here for Whitehead. And he airmailed that one.
That was rushed by Derek Whitehead, backing up, still trying to get to the three-point line and shooting that.
We look over to the Duke bench. It looks like Filipowski's putting that sock back on. I think they added some tape, augmented the tape job he had. Sabani dishing underneath, and the finish nicely done by Federico.
Yeah, nice play by Federico to avoid the shot blocker, using the rim as a shield to get it up on the other side, because Derek Lively was tracking that one down.
Proctor, Lively, he knows exactly what to do with it there.
Nice find from Proctor, great roll by Lively. Didn't mess around, a beeline to the rim, catches the basketball, and of course, Pittsburgh defender making a business decision to get out of the way when you see the 7'1" Lively attacking the rim.
Good idea, get clear of that. Duke in search of win number 24. They have been reliant on their defense, which has been exceptional this season, holding opponents to 31% from three. Sabani on the drive, tried the window and came up empty. So approaching the 14-minute mark, Duke off to a very hot start. Although Kyle Filipowski's been on the bench for some time. We'll see if he shall return. Mitchell thought about it. He'll drive it, keeps on moving, and gets it to go down.
Strong pump fake to get Henson in the air. The sea parted going to the basket, and the Blue Devils getting it going here early in Greensboro Coliseum.
Kyle Filipowski was injured with 17:27 left. Duke was leading 8-0. He's yet to return, but he is on the bench. Let's go to Dre.
Yeah, Dave, just to walk you back through that injury, when he happened on the court, he told Derek Lively that he was okay, but then he came to the bench and told head athletic trainer Jose Fonseca it hurts. He continued to cheer his teammates on. They added layers of tape. He went back into the hallway, ran up and down the hallway just a little bit, and I was given the thumbs up that Kyle Filipowski is good to go back into the game.
So I see a guy say, I'm okay, and I think what he means by that is, I'm not seriously hurt.
Yeah, that means it's not broken.
Yeah, he knows that. As Burton would say, Henson going in strong will draw the foul. And here is Filipowski getting some running in, some jogging in moments ago.
Well, we've seen, a number of key players throughout this ACC tournament already turning their ankles early. We talked about Matthew Cleveland day one, Armando Bacot last night, and now Kyle Filipowski early in this game after knocking down 2 threes and getting everything going. So be interesting to see when he comes back into the mix. But he looks like he's geared up and ready to go. And you got to think about the 28-15 he hung on Pittsburgh last time, and the start he got off to today. Jeff Capel was thinking it could be some deja vu.
You saw Matthew Cleveland, the star for Florida State. He didn't sit down. He stayed up the entire time before he returned after he turned that ankle. Filipowski sitting on the bench, at least for the moment. Roach over the top, aiming for Lively, and out it goes, and back over to the Panthers. One heck of a turnaround for Pittsburgh from last year when they were 11-21, nearly a complete reversal. They went hard to the transfer portal, and they grabbed Nelly Cummings, Blake Hinson, and Greg Elliott, 3 new starters to bring Pittsburgh back to life.
Also, the Diaz-Graham twins stepping into the lineup this year. The freshman, Jeff Capel's done a tremendous job gelling the different personalities and new players into the mix and building a winner in Pittsburgh.
Diaz-Graham, his shot clock expiring, and that's going to be a violation. Guillermo could not get rid of it. The 7-foot freshman, then they give it back. Jeff Capel, ACC Coach of the Year, and of course coached with John Shire at Duke. Capel was a terrific player in his days at Duke as well. They both were.
Yeah, Jeff Capel was associate head coach for the Blue Devils when John Shire started his coaching career at Duke. Those two guys very close friends.
Foul there as Whitehead went in strong, but it's going to be an offensive. We were talking with John earlier today, and he said Jeff Capel has a great basketball mind. I always enjoyed being with him and the basketball talks that they had between games. Jon Scheyer learned so much.
And also mentioned how much Jeff Capel mentored him as a young assistant coach in the business. And again, you know, assistant coaches on the same staff, you spend a lot of time together getting to know each other and each other's tendencies.
Sabandi, and out it goes. Lively with a couple of rejections. Mitchell off the fake. Whitehead gives it away. Sabandi from the corner. Oh, it rolled out. Boy, that was in the cylinder. Tip, and no. Loose on the deck. Sabandi comes away. Jensen for Burton. The fall away. That's sweet.
And we'll see Burton get to those spots a number of times throughout this game. But one thing's for certain, Jon Scheyer knows that. And one of the reasons why he's going to have Derek Lively camping out in the middle of the lane to try to help Duke's defenders guard Burton in the painted area.
Duke doing a good job sharing the sugar here early. Filipowski's getting ready to return to action with 11:16 to go. And on his feet, getting ready to come back on the floor. He hit a couple of triples before he went out. He has had a tremendous rookie year, and more on the big fella when we come back.
To Greensboro and ACC Freshman of the Year, Kyle Filipowski. If there was a book on him, it'd have 3 chapters. First one is his mobility. Sees an opportunity to sprint down the floor. The pass leads him to the basket, and he is able to finish at full speed. The second chapter is his back to the basket. He has the ability to recognize where the help is coming from and spin away from it to score on the inside. But then his ability to stretch the defense. A pick and pop action makes him so tough to guard. If you help off of him, he can knock down the 3. Went down with an injury earlier. He has checked back into the game. Corey, the importance of Filipowski, huge for Duke.
It absolutely is. And Dre, I guess we started this game off in chapter 3 already. We skipped the first 2 as he knocked down 2 3-pointers to start it off early. Looks at another one, lines it up. Unable to get that one to go, but good to see Kyle Filipowski back on the floor.
Comes free to Roach, and he'll drive it right back in. No hesitation at all. As you mentioned, he didn't play the first time these two teams met.
No, and he's a difference maker for this Duke team. That we talk about how well they're playing down the stretch. A lot of that has to do with Jeremy Roach filling in off the ball. Now, when he was injured, he was the point guard. And coming back, Tyrese Proctor's taking over the majority of the ball handling responsibility. Roach is off the ball now.
Hit the number 5 seed. Here's Henson. Will loft that one up there, but too strong. No double bye because they lost a couple of games at the end of the season. Quick strike. Grandison getting in and running the floor. And Duke looks really sharp on offense, 20-6. Not to mention defense, holding Pitt to just 6 points almost midway through the first half. Burton denied. Just no easy shots here for the Panthers.
Well, OB, I'm a firm believer that the Duke Blue Devils are the best defensive team in the ACC. Now, from a scoring standpoint, scoring numbers, they're behind Virginia, but of course we know that Virginia's offense always has a lot to do with that. But from a field goal percentage standpoint, defensively as well, they're right at the top of the ACC.
Young with a touch, kicks it out high, and 3 won't drop. Knocked away by Sabandi. Here he comes. He missed last season because of a torn ACL, but he can really score it. Cummings with a misfire. He's still stuck at 8 points. Duke, by the way, the winningest ACC tournament team in history with 107 wins in this tournament, 21 titles. They won 70% of their games. Filipowski, no. So since returning, he missed a couple shots.
He has. It may not have the same lift on that jumper that he had going out, but again, he is always going to be a threat beyond that arc and allow so much space on the interior for the Blue Devils when they have the ability to penetrate and find a guy like that on the perimeter.
Diaz-Graham, the 7-foot freshman, back in. Sabandi, yes, got a good look, buried it.
Big bucket for Pittsburgh. Nike Sabandi, you mentioned the 6th man of the year in the ACC. who has had big performances in the ACC tournament back in 2021, had a 25-point game to start it off for the Panthers.
Young doubled up, gets out of there. Young, and they fouled him over the back. That's Diaz-Graham with the personal.
You had to remind Dre that not only does Kyle Filipowski have all those other things, he's got some toughness to him as well. Not going to get out of the way of Henson trying to walk down the floor. Does not mind playing through contact.
Maybe a bit of a chip on the shoulder for the Blue Devils that they would have been right in the hunt for the ACC crown. Had a call gone their way at Virginia on February 11. Going to get inside and get it done there. Remember, Filipowski went to the rim. A very controversial call there.
And OB, I believe that in all honesty, that may be the best thing to have happened to the Blue Devils. And the reason being, as we see Federico get another easy bucket, they play with that chip on their shoulder. This team, even though they're the only global college basketball team, this program, they play with a chip on their shoulders because they feel as though they do not get the necessary respect. That starts with the head coach, John Shire, and it trickles down all the way through his team.
Mitchell launches. He was wide open. Not that time. And take it away. The turnover. Here comes Whitehead. Put it on his hip, and he stuck it in. A beautiful move there. Boy, he was determined. And Duke leads at 24-13. He'll go to the line.
Another one of the many Duke Blue Devil pro prospects in their first year in Durham. Getting out, making the play. Dariq Whitehead getting the job done early, like many of the great players of Duke past. Special list of guys right here, OB.
Beautiful day today, and some of the creatures at the Greensboro Science Center safely behind those cages and basking in the sunshine. Very good day to do that. We were doing some of that in the parking lot before we came in. Looking for a place to lay down and relax.
I do a lot of that.
I'm good at that. Yeah. That's the scout on that. Outstanding laying down. 7:41 left. Duke got off to a very quick start, and it pretty much maintained at 25-13 on Pitt. Miami a winner in game one. Tremendous effort in that one, 74-72. Let's go to Dre.
And just listened in to the Pitt huddle, and it was talking exactly about what we just saw. Coach Capel saying that they're giving Duke too many easy points, too many wide open shots, turnovers. He said we have to make them take contested shots or make the players shoot that we want to shoot. Corey, for Duke, who is that? Who does Pitt want to shoot the basketball?
If you have to pick anyone on the floor right now that you want to shoot specifically from beyond the three-point arc, you would want that to be either Tyrese Proctor or Mark Mitchell, simply because those guys who are capable of making threes don't shoot it at the high clip that you see from Filipowski as well as Dariq Whitehead, who both have already knocked down threes in this game. Already 3 for Filipowski on the afternoon.
And the last one looking like the first couple that he hit in between. Had that ankle injury, but he's bounced back. Now he's going in underneath and makes it, and he'll be at the line. So looking like the ankle is okay, as he said immediately after he hit the deck.
He's looking like the ankle's okay. And OB, let me tell you who else he's looking like. He's looking like a young Christian Laettner right now. And the reason I say that is because not only is he doing damage when he gets to back to the basket on the block, he has the ability to step out and shoot it from beyond the three-point range. And again, the Christian Laettner was the best college player that I ever played against. Again, when you think about what he was able to do, back-to-back championships, played in the Final Four every year he was in college, and he was special. I only played against him 1 year, thankfully, his last year, my first year at Virginia, but he was special. And right now, Kyle Filipowski looking a lot like Laettner here early.
Whitehead with a reach-in foul. High praise indeed. He has 14 points. Pitt has 15 as a team.
Yeah, I'm not sure people realize he's 7 feet tall. And again, you know, I'm not one to give people their proper with their listed height. He's actually 7 feet tall and has a shooting stroke that, I mean, he's shown that off already, but the toughness and the ability to put the ball on the floor, play off the bounce, as well as back to the basket. He's a complete offensive package.
So 6:20 to go here in the first half. And Duke has opened up a 31-15 advantage. And they're trying to get together here with Ron Groover finally giving the ball to Pitt on the baseline. Groover, Jamie Lucky, Tommy Morrissey, an all-star crew here with 7 Final Fours combined. Fall away by Burton. Yep, that rattles in.
And that's a tough shot. Again, Jamarius Burton is capable of making tough shots, but if you're the Blue Devils, you'll live with Burton having to make those to beat you, because I'm not sure he can make enough of those over this great Duke defense.
That's a tough shot as well. It spins off the iron. It won't go for Roach, but a whistle.
Jamarius Burton, first-team All-ACC performer this season, having to go to tough looks. Look at Mark Mitchell's extension trying to block that shot. Great offense beats good defense anytime, but it's going to have to be a lot more great offense from Burton.
Hinson's first, and Roach at 73%. Honorable mention All-ACC. You know, talking about Burton and company, Burton with previous stops at Wichita State, Texas Tech. They got a lot of guys who have multiple stops on Jeff Capel's roster. I mean, heck, their roster is older than some NBA teams.
Yeah, but when you think about the togetherness in which they play, you got to give Jeff Capel a lot of credit for being able to blend all these new guys and make a winner out of it. That's going to be flagrant.
Yeah, it should be. Trying to hold him up and grab him. And let's see what they decide to do on this foul. 5:40 to go. Breakaway by Mitchell.
Jamie Lucky and Ron Groover talking it over. They're going to go over and have a look at that. That was not a basketball play, so it's going to be interesting to see what they come back with this. Henson just behind the play, reaching out and grabbing Mitchell so that he doesn't come up with the highlight dunk. But you see, that's not a basketball play there. Well, you know what, OB? With the left hand, he has a shirt, but he does reach around and smack the arm. That's going to be an interesting call, because that was much more of a basketball play when you get an opportunity to see it on replay than it was in live action. You see as he grabs the shirt with the left, but he does reach around with the right hand. I'm not sure the way this one would go. I would like for the officials to award Henson.
It is going to be a flagrant one. And you know, I think, Corey, if the first move is I'm grabbing the shirt, it almost doesn't matter what you do after that.
Yeah, I didn't want to see that be a flagrant foul, but I mean, I understand the call absolutely. And Jamie Lucky having a conversation with Henson over it. And it's the right call. Grabbing the shirt, but reaching around with the right hand to smack the arm makes it more of a basketball play, but that is the correct call.
And your first reaction was, I think we've got a flagrant.
Because all I could see was the inside, so that left hand grabbing, reaching out for him. And that was the first foul. And so with that being the first foul, that's the right call.
So Mitchell at the line to shoot. 76% for Mark, freshman from Kansas City. One of the things that John Shire was talking about was this guy does so much for Duke that goes unnoticed. He's actually had a lot of big plays over the course of the season. He made a game-saving chase down block against Boston College. He also hit a game-sealing 3 with 11 seconds to go to beat Notre Dame. Not a big scorer, 9 points a game, 4 rebounds, but does a lot of things.
You know, and the reality behind it was, if you put him on the All-ACC freshman team, it's 4 Duke players and Judah Mintz. So that's really the only reason I believe that Mark Mitchell did not make the all-freshman team. But, you know, when you look at his performance this year, he's been spectacular.
I know you had the broadcast yesterday, Wake and Syracuse. I thought Judah Mintz should have had a shot there at the end of that game. Girard took it instead, didn't make the shot, and they paid at the end. Pass is tipped. Scooped up by Mitchell, a leaner. Rebound is loose and saved by Pitt. Duke up 35-17 here in the first half. Diaz-Graham off target. And another whistle. 5:06 to go in the half. Give you a look at our Pac-12 bracket. Keeping in mind UCLA has suffered a big injury.
Yes, injury issues for UCLA. Mick Cronin doing a great job getting that #1 seed in the Pac-12 tournament, but Arizona had a great non-conference slate. They were a little inconsistent in Pac-12 play, but they can be dangerous in March.
Pitt to put it in. Cummings. Burton getting 16 points a game. Cummings puts on the brakes. Sabandi, shot clock at 7. Diaz-Graham going in strong, and another foul. So a flurry of whistles here down the stretch of the first half. And that'll be on Lively, #1. Guillermo Diaz-Graham, 7-foot freshman, or 6'11", I should say. His brother is 7 feet.
He gave Pittsburgh great minutes down the stretch yesterday. When Federico got in foul trouble, those 4 fouls, Guillermo Diaz-Graham came in and played 14 big minutes for Jeff Capel and helped them secure that win to make it into the quarterfinals here today.
35-19. Later on tonight, it'll be Virginia and North Carolina. That's at 7. And at 9:30, Clemson and NC State in the other quarterfinals. Proctor with a scoop, and that's a pretty play. He just kept driving and driving.
And you know, when you look at Tyrese Proctor now as a primary ball handler for the Duke Blue Devils, you always go back and think about when Coach K would always make a move midway during the season to change the fortunes of his team. Well, this year, that move that John Shire made, his predecessor would have appreciated when you think about moving Proctor to the point guard position and Roach off the ball.
Duke with another opportunity here in the last 4 minutes or so of the first half to extend their lead. And they have owned this thing from the opening couple of possessions, where Filipowski nailed a pure 3 each time. Even when he stepped aside with an injury, they kept on scoring. Grandis with a great fake. The shot by Roach. They certainly got an open look.
Yeah, but we'll say this. This is a long basketball game, and this Pittsburgh Panthers team is as tough as you get as they go by their leader, Jamarius Burton. They're not going to walk away from this. Down 16 right now, but would be no surprise to me if you see Pittsburgh make this a close game early in the second half.
We saw it in game 1 between Wake and Miami. Miami was sailing along an 18-point lead fairly deep into the second half. Miami would win by 2. That's tournament basketball for you.
Absolutely. You're never out of it, especially with this 3-point. Pittsburgh second in ACC. A 3-pointers made per game.
Got it inside to the big guy Lively for the basket to make it 39-21.
And you just get to see Derek Lively's improvement as the season's gone along, finally healthy and playing the best basketball of his short Duke career.
Burton zips it to Cummings.
Smart.
And draws the contact. Yeah, very smart play.
Smart play by Cummings, recognizing he has that defender in the air. Not only get the free throws, but get the foul against Mitchell.
Well, these two coaches so familiar with each other. Look at this. Even the stance looks almost identical between Capel and Shire. Duke Blue Devils sailing along here against the Pitt Panthers. Let's toss it to Dre.
Thanks, Dave. Well, these two head coaches are so familiar with each other. They also played at Duke in the ACC tournament. Coach Capel went 2-4 in the tournament, averaged 10.7 points per game. Coach Shire, 7-2 in the tournament at 17 6.4 points per game and the MVP when they won the ACC tournament. So Coach Scheyer getting a bit of an edge, Corey, as far as playing in the ACC tournament goes.
He absolutely did have more of an edge playing in the ACC tournament. You also have to throw into consideration that Jeff Capel's last 3 seasons, starting his sophomore years when Coach K was actually out injured and did not coach the team the second half of the season. It was a struggle for the Blue Devils his second and third year. They got things back together in his 4th year, but in his first year, he played alongside the great Grant Hill in the backcourt, and they made it all the way to the national championship game where they lost to Arkansas in that game. But Jeff Capel was a flat-out problem on the court. And again, if you look at the individual numbers, his numbers may be a little better than Scheyer's were, even though Scheyer was the ACC tournament most valuable player.
Yes, he was.
Corey, when you talk about Coach Capel being a problem, is there a player on the court that reminds you of Coach Capel?
Yes, and he actually wears the same number as Coach Capel and the same uniform. His name is Tyrese Proctor, except for Jeff Capel was a better shooter at this stage. But Jeff Capel and Tyrese Proctor are very similar as players. The ability to play both guard positions at 6'5". Jeff Capel was an issue for anyone that he dealt with on the court.
41-26, Sabandy burying one, but Duke continues to look very much at home here in Greensboro. Roach getting away from the D. Filipowski hunting another 3-pointer. Here's Proctor. Shot clock at 3. He gets it up there, and he buries it.
And Dre, that is very Jeff Capel-like. As you watch Tyrese Proctor growing up, and you look at Proctor and the relationship that he has with his coach, with his teammates, this is a very similar impact that what Jeff Capel had when he was a freshman with the Blue Devils. Stepping into the lineup from a team that had been very good early and becoming a starter on that team and having a huge role.
So count that basket, but Filipowski committing a foul after. They're going over to take a look.
I think they're looking at, someone hit the deck pretty hard underneath the basket.
Yeah, there was Diaz
after
Grant.
that.
Yeah.
And they're looking to see if there was any extracurriculars on that play. The basket will still count, but there could have been a foul, and they're looking to see if this was anything flagrant afterwards. Yeah, I mean, okay, if you give Filipowski the foul, so be it, but there's nothing there on that play. Nothing dirty, just contact amongst big guys.
So common foul there. Stay tuned for the All-State halftime report with Reese, Fonz, and Seth.
Common foul there. I wonder what would happen to Seth if Fonz fouled him real hard right now on the set. You think Seth would get up?
You sound like you want to see that.
I'm not going to say that I want to see it. I'm just wondering what it would look like. Fonz and I were teammates with the Denver Nuggets, and I've seen him foul guys pretty hard. When he's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
Oh, he sure is.
But you don't want to push the wrong button. Because he can get physical if necessary. I've seen it.
And you don't think that Seth has come really close to pushing the wrong button many times in their association?
No. Not
okay.
TV Seth Greenberg. Coach Seth Greenberg, yes, but not TV Seth Greenberg.
Right. These guys are great together. And with Reese, they're coming your way very shortly here from Greensboro. 44-28, Duke in command. Under 90 seconds to go. Roach over the top, Lively. Diaz Graham with a nice play defensively, although it's off him and out. And so it'll be Duke basketball, the minute 16 on the clock. And the two big twins get to play together here for Jeff Capel. He's looking for something.
But he's looking very calm, and the reason he's looking so calm is because he understands how long of a game this is. Even though his team trails 16 right now, he'll get him in the halftime locker room, regroup, and try to find a way to adjust to be able to slow down Duke on the offensive end.
Shot clock at 6. Proctor going one-on-one. The kick. Here's Roach with a triple. Yes, sir.
Tyrese Proctor, Jeremy Roach, the 2-point guard lineup for the Blue Devils has been spectacular. Not only here this afternoon, but for the last 14 games since Roach has returned from injury.
In heavy traffic, Lively with another rejection, but there was a foul before that. And Proctor with number 2. And that will put Diaz-Graham to the line with 45.8 to go. Yeah, slowing down Duke offensively, that's half of the equation. The other half is Pitt has been held to 28 points. It took him forever to even get on a scoreboard.
But this is something that I'm sure Jeff Capel was expecting coming in. He knew it was going to be difficult to score against Duke. I'm not sure he was expecting this type of offensive performance from the Blue Devils, and when you consider their shooting from beyond the arc. But as Coach Shire told us, the offense is catching up. It's getting close. But he also mentioned that their defense is getting better. And that's why Duke is one of the hottest teams nationally, not just in the ACC, coming into the tournament on a 6-game winning streak.
Well, Duke by 17, looking to add on before the break. And going to be stolen away and right back. Grandison hit the deck and tumbles over as he draws the foul. So the Panthers had it for a split second and quickly gave it right back. So Grandison heading for the line, 35.7 showing.
And Blakes will step in for Proctor, who's playing with those 2 fouls right now. And Blakes, of course, had a stretch where he was really the offensive weapon for the Blue Devils during the middle of this season. Had back-to-back 17-point games, career highs for him, but known much more as a defender and not necessarily in the rotation right now, but a guy that John Shire still trusts on the court in crucial moments.
Grandison, the 6'6" grad out of Oakland, California. That's the first foul shot he's missed. He's been exceptional this year, so less than half a second. And about a 4-second differential clock and shot clock. Burton trying to give him a little lift right before halftime. Sabandi to the 10. No. Rebound battle for loose. 5 seconds. Burton giving underneath and the stuff. Diaz-Graham. And that's how the first half comes to an end. So a little bit of life there at the very tail end of the half for the Panthers. Duke with a season best 48 points and shooting 63%.
The offense is catching up, OB. The defense has been spectacular all season long, but right now that offense is picking up.
Dre is with John Shire.
Coach Shire, coming off of the double bye, you managed to have the highest scoring first half this season. How has your offense worked this so far?
Well, I thought we really shared the ball, played inside out. I love what we did in the offensive end. Our defense was really good. We just have to come up with those 50-50 balls, keep our feet on defense. They're an explosive team. Long way to go.
You mentioned the defense. How has the versatility of your group affected Pitt?
Well, it's a luxury for us when we have great on-ball defenders. You know, the job that Mark Mitchell has done, Tyrese Proctor, Derek protecting the basket, Jeremy. I could go, really everybody that's on the floor is busting their butt on that end, and that no let-ups. Can't let up against this group. They're dangerous.
First time back here as a head coach. You've been here as a player. You've won as a player. How's it feel for you?
Got all the feels right now. You know, I got all the feels being back. We've had some great moments here. We've also had moments where we've got knocked back and just can't let up. That's where I'm at right now. Can't let up.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Andre.
You mentioned those assists right away. Champ Week on ESPN presented by Principal. You are watching the New York Life ACC Men's Basketball Tournament from Greensboro, North Carolina. The Fountains. How about the fountain of youth, as it were, for the Duke Blue Devils? They are certainly relying on that because their freshmen have been outstanding.
And they're figuring out their roles. You've got Mark Mitchell who comes in. He brings the energy. He's a rhythm changer. And then Tyrese Proctor with 7 assists already is running the offense for the Blue Devils. Tariq Whitehead the disruptor, getting his hands on loose balls, getting out in transition, and getting buckets. Derek Lively, the second, the defender, the defensive presence, blocking shots and running the floor, attacking the rim. And, of course, you got to have the bucket filler, the guy that goes out and puts numbers on the board. Kyle Filipowski getting the job done for the Blue Devils.
He has 14 as a team. They're shooting 63%. What does Pitt have to do to get back in it?
Well, one, they've got to find a way to get some stops. Allowing Duke 48 points, the most points Duke has scored in a half this season. And again, when you're thinking about the Pitt Panthers, they have that toughness as well. They've got to get stops first and then get their offense going.
Well, they've won 22 games this season, averaging 76 points a game, so they certainly can score. Duke opened it up though on a 16-4 run. That was behind Filipowski. He got hurt, but they didn't slow down, and they were only better when he came back.
Yeah, those 12 assists on 17 made field goals just shows the continuity in Duke's offense and the way they're sharing the basketball, playing as a unit right now. And Jeff Capel, who attempted to sit down to start the second half, on his feet already after an early turnover.
Lively kicks it up. Proctor a three. Rebound batted, controlled right underneath and up and in. That was fortuitous, and the bucket by Mitchell.
But you go back and you talk about how we outlined those freshmen, energy, rhythm changer. That's a 50-50 ball. John Shire talked to Dre about that on the way out after seeing his team give up that 50-50 ball. Mark Mitchell making up for that mistake.
Cummings needs some help. He bounces up top here for Burton. They could really use this guy to get hot on the Pitt side. That rolls off the iron, tipped out by the Panthers, so the Blue Devils will have it, leading 50-32. Let's check in with Andrea.
Thanks, Dave. Well, I caught up with Coach Capel coming out of halftime, and he said the biggest adjustment his team has to make is they have to play harder and with more force. He said he felt like those early threes from Filipowski knocked them back a little bit as Filipowski hits another one right on cue. He said coming into the game, they wanted to close out short on Filipowski because he was 2 of 11 from 3 in the last 4 games, but they've got to make an adjustment on him.
And immediately, Dre, as Filipowski gets so much room and knocks down another 3, and then gets out and gets the fast break easy layup. Jeff Capel going to his bench. Blake Henson will most likely not be on the floor when they come back. Does not like the defensive effort.
Started the ballgame with 6 Duke points. Second half, 5 out of 7. And how about the boyish head coach, Sean Shire? He blends right in.
He absolutely does. I mean, it was just 13 years ago when he was playing in the ACC tournament, winning a tournament championship and the most valuable player, also a national championship back in 2010.
In traffic and kicked out for Cummings. Can't find the range there. Shire's done an excellent job. No easy task to follow a legend. And the coach, Coach K.
Absolutely. 16-0 at home this season. The first ACC coach to ever go undefeated at home in their first year. But I want to say that maybe his best job that he's done to this point is preparing his team for what they're doing today. With the double bye coming into the ACC tournament and being prepared to play from the beginning of the game, from the tip, they've been prepared all night long.
Yes, from Jump Street. Duke finishing the ACC regular season, ranked in the top 5 of the conference for the 37th time in the last 40 years. So it's been a lot of business as usual for Duke, leading 57-32. Mitchell up top. Lively will let fly. Yes!
And for those that don't know, he can do that. I watched him do that from the time he was a freshman in high school. And you see Derek Lively has the ability to shoot the 3 ball. His mom, Kathy Drysdale, hanging around in the stands. And I know she's loving that, seeing her baby boy knock down the big 3.
Some of the frustration starting to come through here for the Pitt Panthers. They need more of that from Burton.
There she goes. You talking about a big-time player right there, OB. She's of course his biggest fan, but also his toughest critic as well.
Proctor back for Filipowski. Shot clock to 6. Lively setting a screen. Filipowski, another touch. He'll lean in, and he banked it in. Drawing the foul as well.
We talked about Kyle Filipowski. He's a bucket filler. He's a guy that goes out and scores regardless of the defense. He's that good offensively, and he is showing it off. And you got to remember, 28 points, 15 rebounds versus Pittsburgh in the first time. He was priority number 1 on the scouting report for the Panthers coming into this game.
Sure.
And all he's done is score 22 points in the first 24 minutes.
8 for 10 shooting.
Oh, and he missed a few minutes with the sprained ankle, by the way. We should note that actually happened in the first half.
Noted.
You would not be able to tell, though.
Come back very strong from that. 63-34. They are laying it on the Pitt Panthers. Pitt's the number 5 seed. Sabandi going to kick it up top here, and that'll rattle home for Diaz Graham.
That's Jorge stepping out, knocking down the 3 ball. The Diaz-Graham twins, in my opinion, are going to be very good for Jeff Capel in the future. Getting a lot of great experience under their belt as freshmen.
Prodigiardo also on the floor. Roach with the kick from the corner. Another one swishes in here for Proctor. Duke 9 out of 18 from 3. Diaz Graham will finish that one on the other end.
And the struggle for the Panthers has been defensively. Not expecting that coming into this game. I'm not sure anyone was expecting Duke to operate this well offensively. But they've gotten everyone involved, sharing the basketball extremely well and executing to the highest level.
Lively going up high and draws the foul as well. So the toughest shots are falling and resulting in an and one for the Duke Blue Devils, who are running away with this one on top 68-39.
David, we say thank you.
We absolutely say thank you, and Black history is history. It's that simple. And Dre, great job with that. And of course, when you think about those sit-ins, it sparks so much around the country as far as young people recognizing their rights, and more of those happen throughout the country, but a lot of that started right at A&T.
Thank goodness it did. Talk about athletic courage, that kind of courage. That's a wholly different matter. This is on the A&T campus. 69-39 Duke in complete control. They started out the game 12-0. They started the second half 12-0. That'll get you a big lead like this. Shot clock down to 10. Burton heavy traffic. People all over him. Still loose. Diaz Graham kept on working and gets a bucket.
And what you're seeing right now from Jeff Capel and his staff is, I'm going to play the guys that are going to compete. That's who he has on the floor right now. The Diaz Graham twins, of course, Nelly Cummings, Nike Sabandi, and Jamarius Burton. He knows these guys are going to compete for him.
Going to wave that off, and that's going to be against Young, an offensive foul. Diaz Graham hitting the deck. He is up. So coming up later on tonight, Dan and Jay will have the call at 7. Number 2 seed Virginia, number 7 North Carolina, followed by Clemson and NC State, the 3 and the 6. What are your thoughts about tonight?
Well, I believe we're going to have some special action tonight as the officials go over Jamie Luckey, Tommy Morrissey, to talk about was there anything extracurricular on that. But when you look at the bracket, I mean, you can't say for certain right now, but it looks like Duke will be moving on into the semifinals tomorrow with a huge lead here with 13:40 remaining. Then the Virginia-North Carolina matchup. huge implications beyond this game, simply because it's an opportunity for the Tar Heels to gain another quad one victory. At this point of the season, North Carolina may need to win the ACC tournament to get into the NCAA tournament. And also, Clemson, NC State right now, North Carolina State firmly in the field, Clemson not, even though they're the 3rd seed. So a big game for both those teams. We also have to remember that Clemson has beat NC State twice this season. Hard to beat a good team 3 times in a year.
And on North Carolina, you know, do they have to win 2? Do they have to win the whole thing? Do they just have to get to the final? Here's what they're looking at.
Yeah, they're seeing if Ryan Young actually elbowed. And that's his head. Again, that's not an elbow going over top. So glad there was no additional action on that one.
Miami's the number 1 seed. They played their way into the semifinals with a victory over Wake Forest today, 74-72. Miller with 18, Wong with 17. And they will take on the winner of this one in the semifinal round. On the feed, and one as well. A lot of fouls here at this stage of the game. But Osborne will lay it in.
I love the fact that there's still energy on the Pittsburgh bench. They see a bucket, and more importantly, the teammates are up cheering on. The coaching staff is on. Jeff Capel and his staff recognizing their season is not over, and they're still trying to accomplish something. Even though they're down big in this game, there are things to be accomplished. You look at that great staff, of course, Tim O'Toole, Milan Brown, and of course, little brother Jason, who's quite grown up now. Mama Cape in the stands, I'm sure, checking her boys out. There she goes. There goes Mama Cape. We caught you, Mama Cape, with the popcorn.
I think you may hear something about that. 13-13 to go. Another foul. Second round yesterday.
And Jamarius Burton just went to work yesterday on Georgia Tech, showing off all of his offensive arsenal, but not just about his scoring. His playmaking also had 8 assists in that game and pretty much willed his team to a win.
Grandison lets fly. Can't bury that one. Mitchell beats everyone to the ball. Whitehead lays it off, and Young finishes the play. 71-44. Cummings quickly to the other end. No. Young again trying to make a move out for Grandison. Wide open for the 3, and the Blue Devils really laying it on now. Ten for 20 from three-point land for Duke today. Diaz Graham too strong. Rebound poked out. They'll get a second chance. Sabandi in and out. Another loose ball controlled by Mitchell.
John Shire wanting to settle things down for his team. Make sure with this big lead they don't get too loose with the basketball. Continue to execute.
Mitchell takes off strong and draws the foul. So Mark Mitchell will be at the line when we come back.
Obi, I think it's fair to say that the Duke Blue Devils are enjoying themselves. Everyone touching the basketball, getting involved in the action, and the bench is loving the way they're sharing the sugar.
But net crew may not look like they're working right now, but they sort of are. They'll be back tonight 11:30 Eastern after Clemson NC State, breaking down all 4 quarterfinals over an ACC network. Carlos Boozer posing for some photos, signing some autographs, kissing some babies, and then he'll be working tonight.
That is pretty much working for Booze, though, because he does the same thing when he's actually on air. He's just Booze. He's there, of course, gets an opportunity to cheer on the Duke Blue Devils. And, you know, when you think about Carlos Boozer, as great of a player as he was, he may end up paling in comparison one of his twin sons, Cameron, at 6'9" right now, a sophomore in high school, is the best player in high school basketball regardless of class, OB. That means as a sophomore, he's valued higher than the seniors coming out of high school right now.
You're talking about in the country.
I'm talking about in the country, and I'm going to go as far as to say outside of Victor Wembanyama, maybe in the world.
Well,
I mean, that's how good this young man is right now. At 15, maybe 16 years old, has a twin brother, Caden, who is a special talent also.
Very well coached.
But let me tell you this. There's a lot of rumblings that the age may change for the NBA minimum age.
For eligibility, yeah.
If so, if it goes to 18, I'm not sure we're going to see Cameron Boozer in college basketball. That's how good he is.
Right to the league. Quite a prediction there. That'll go the other way. 11:08 to go. Duke in total control, 76-44. Do I hear this rumor correctly that Carlos at some point rented out his house to Prince?
He didn't know he was renting it to Prince.
Oh, so you know this story.
Oh, I know this story. He actually went to check up on the house and noticed that everything was painted purple. And that's when he found out that who was actually renting his house in Los Angeles at the time. And yes, he had a famous renter on that one. I believe he was also escorted from the property, letting them know that, hey, listen, you don't belong here. You don't have on purple. You can't wear this. You're wearing Duke blue. You can't come in here with that on.
It's the other great story that I think we all know, that Prince could play a little basketball.
He was a avid basketball fan. I can remember my early days in the NBA and playing against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and he would be sitting courtside. So, but of course, the Dave Chappelle skit with Prince playing basketball.
Well, that's where I got the story from. And I'm like, I don't know if I have laughed harder at any single thing that I've seen on TV.
Blouses.
It was a killer. It was Eddie's brother who was telling the story.
Yes, Charlie Murphy.
Charlie Murphy. Oh, it was so funny. 10:40 to go. Young, good feed. They're gonna.
Blake's got to shoot that.
Did not.
Mark Mitchell's upset at his teammate because he didn't shoot. He cost him an assist.
Eventually left it well short. They get a little bit greedy. Burton lets fly over Mitchell, but not there for him. And Pitt just never found a hot hand. Duke's defense pretty special today. And another whistle with 10:09 left.
Obi, there's some motivation behind coming to Greensboro for the Duke Blue Devils. One of those is if they get this win today, they're up 30 right now. They're looking like they're in good shape for that. They get a rematch with the Miami Hurricanes, who flat out embarrassed Duke in Coral Gables the last time. These teams split on the year 1-1, but Miami definitely got the advantage and got the best of them in Coral Gables.
Proctor buries another triple for the Blue Devils.
Coming into this season, everyone expected for Tyrese Proctor to be the guy that would be the shooter for Duke. Got off to a slow start shooting the basketball from beyond the arc, but you see this is that time of year where the freshmen now are no longer considered freshmen, and Tyrese Proctor is getting the job done on the floor.
Proctor with 9 assists, by the way. Miami scouting.
Yeah, Bill Courtney, Cody Kimball over there checking out the action as Blake Henson gets back in the game. He's able to knock down a 3.
Duke, incidentally, with 21 assists. You know that Miami has noted that. 79-49. Blue Devils can look ahead to Miami next. Down the lane. Oh, Mitchell with a great adjustment and laid it in. He was thinking about the slam, but laid it in gently.
Yeah, showing off great touch from Mark Mitchell, attacking the basket with the contact, still concentrating on the bucket, more importantly, getting the job done defensively after the bucket. Ooh, once again, great offense beats good defense. Nike Sabandy stepping up and knocking down a big 3.
Well, still to come at 7 o'clock. Number 2 seed Virginia, number 7 seed North Carolina on ESPN. Dan Shulman and Jay Billis. And then Clemson, NC State will be the finishing game at 9:30 on ESPN. And the semifinals tomorrow at 7 and 9:30. Championship game on Saturday at 8:30 p.m. on ESPN. Burton into the paint. Rebound tip to the corner. 8:27 to go. Pitt will keep it.
You see Mark Mitchell attacking the basket, acrobatic. This is similar to when the GOAT went up and changed to the left hand and finished it off. And of course, when I say the GOAT, everyone knows who the GOAT is. There only can be one GOAT, and he played in the ACC tournament.
From the corner, the jumper won't drop here for Henson. On the drive and laid up and in for Blakes.
Well, Blakes recognizes, so he does switch hands going to the left. Jacob Blakes attacking the basket. Goes up with the right, but switching over to the left. The contact, the finish, and an opportunity for the and one.
I know you caught this, but whenever you compare anyone to Michael, I do remain quiet.
Hopefully I was not comparing anyone to Michael, but if I ever do compare anyone to Michael and it's not Kobe, you should remain quiet.
83-52, Duke in complete command here. Officials went to the monitor. They're going to rule this a flagrant one.
There's contact to the head, and as Diaz-Graham is trying to swipe at the basketball, does follow through and hit Blakes in the face. So I understand the call. It's the right call. Blake still with the concentration to finish it. This could be a 4-point possession. But give me more than that, because Duke will get the basketball back after the free throws.
Sophomore from New Jersey, 66% foul shooter. He'll get 2 here.
Yeah, Blakes has shed the mask. He wore that late in the season. And again, maybe should have had it on after getting whacked in the face on that last possession.
Did you ever have to wear one?
No, that wasn't for me, OB. I would have just had to go out there and risk it. No way I could play with that. I'm claustrophobic. No way I can play with a mask on.
Because some guys wear it for a while, and then when they remove it, they find they need it.
Yes, they get used to it. And, you know, I tried to play with contacts once, and that was awful. That was it for me.
Whitehead, tough leaner, spins it in.
And right now, Duke has been unguardable. OB, we could see 100 put on Pittsburgh in this game. It's still close to 8 minutes remaining. Duke already with 86 points, shooting 74% here in the second half.
86-52, long day for Jeff Capel, for the Capels. John Shire used to be on the same bench as a coach with Jeff at Duke. Now going head to head. Elliott has it blocked. Seven and a half minutes remaining. Dumping it down for Young in heavy traffic. Can't connect and commits a foul.
We've seen Ryan Young's role with this team decrease as the season's gone along with the development of Derek Lively II. But he is an important factor for the Duke Blue Devils moving forward. In the first matchup between these two teams, Young had 7 offensive rebounds, 7 of the 24 offensive rebounds that Duke had in that game. And he has been a great backup for Lively to have and help him develop this season.
Now Pitt back to the foul line here with 7:24 to go. Miami a winner earlier today, 74-72 over Wake Forest. At one point had an 18-point lead. Shoot was coming in and doing exactly that. Knocking it down.
Shoot, another member of that freshman class. We've mentioned all the freshmen for the Blue Devils in this game except for Shoot. So making sure he gets his name in the scoring column.
Line driver won't go by Hinson as he makes his way back into the game. Up top, and that won't drop by Elliott. It's kind of been a non-factor in this one. Young for Grandison, and he'll dunk it. Well, I thought that NC State's performance last night was going to be the top offensive performance of the tournament, but Duke making a run at 100.
And we start talking about the matchup as Blakes continues to defend, picks up the foul on Cummings on that possession.
Blakes with his second personal.
Now we think forward to the matchup tomorrow night. Duke and Miami. A 2-point victory for the Blue Devils at Cameron Indoor in the first matchup between the two, and then a flat-out beatdown in favor of Miami when they played the game in Coral Gables, a big Monday. And that is when I believe everyone nationally recognized just how good the Miami Hurricanes were as a team. Of course, fast forward to today, the Miami Hurricanes are the #1 seed, ACC regular season co-champs alongside Virginia. But Miami has seen enough.
Yes.
Bill Courtney letting them know we're out of here. We know who will be playing tomorrow.
Taking it back to the hotel. And it gets to 90-56. You don't have to scout much anymore. Duke has completely blown out Pitt. Reeves spinning in the lane, gets it to go. So some of the guys who don't play very much for the Blue Devils get some minutes here at the end with a score like this.
Christian Reeves, of course, give me an opportunity to mention my little Oak Hill brethren.
7-1 freshman out of Charlotte. And Santos will release but can't hit it. Sabane on the way and hits it. Well, you got Virginia, North Carolina. Your thoughts on that game at 7 o'clock, the 2 seed against the 7 seed?
We had a desperate North Carolina team beat Virginia in Chapel Hill the last time those two teams got together. The first matchup between the two, Armando Bacot turned his ankle a minute and a half into that game, did not play, and Virginia was able to win that matchup in Charlottesville. Be interesting to see how Virginia responds. They've gotten back on track offensively in their last 2 games after struggling mightily over a stretch of about 6 games on the offensive end of the floor. Tony Bennett with a lot of time to prepare coming into the ACC tournament. He's one of the best at making adjustments.
And don't you think it'll be a terrific game? Clemson and NC State late tonight at 9:30.
I honestly think that's the matchup.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you're talking about pure anger from NC State. The way that Clemson went to PNC and embarrassed the Wolfpack on senior night.
I don't think you can blame Clemson for being a little chippy as well about their attitude, because they are the #3 seed, but you know, people are talking about them not being in the tournament, which doesn't make a lot of sense. 92-62. Duke with a big effort here today in the quarters. ESPN's
Well, our next game in just a few hours is going to be Virginia against North Carolina, and the 3-headed monster of Reese Beekman, who defends and scores on the inside. Kihei Clark, who is the veteran poised point guard, and Armand Franklin, who is the 3-and-D guy that leads the team in made 3-point field goals. That three-headed monster, that backcourt, has been huge for Virginia all season long. Corey, you said this tournament would be decided by the backcourts. Those two teams, North Carolina and Virginia, split this season. How do you see that game playing out?
Well, it's a guard's world, Dre. You know that. And so when you think about the matchup between the backcourts, we highlighted Virginia's backcourt. But R.J. Davis and Caleb Love, the way that they played last night was the way that we were expecting to see them play all season long. The talent is absolutely there. But when you throw in Leaky Black, who, in my opinion, was right there with Reese Beekman regarding ACC Defensive Player of the Year, this is going to be a tremendous battle. The difference in that game will happen in the front court. Will Armando Bacot have the level of production on that sprained ankle that you expect to see from him, or will Jaden Gardner be the guy that wins it in his home state?
Armando, a very quick healer. We've seen that, and he knows he has that reputation. The trainers can work miracles too, and he was able to come back and play some on that. 3:10 to go in this one. And how about the return by this guy, Filipowski? 50 points last two games against Pitt. He hasn't played much today, and he has 22 points.
Hasn't had to. He got off to a great start, knocked down the first 2 3-pointers, and then started off the second half scoring 5 straight points. And I mean, he was just locked in offensively, you know, from the beginning of this game. And give John Shire a lot of credit. I mean, it's difficult to watch everyone else play and sit at home, come in and be able to pick up at that level right away. But the Blue Devils absolutely did that here this afternoon.
Kick ball here. Yeah, he's played only 15 minutes in the game. He's been resting and smiling and being a good teammate the rest of the time. Not a lot of time on the court, but he hit the first shot of the game, a 3-pointer, nothing but net. And right away you had a feeling Pitt realized they might be in trouble today. And then seconds later he hit the next one. Yep. Another 3-pointer. And then they were really in trouble.
It happened fast. You saw Derek Lively get involved in the action. 13 points for him. Tyrese Proctor had 11 points and 10 assists, a double-double at the point guard position. And then, of course, Mark Mitchell with 12 points of his own. So all the freshmen getting involved in the action. Jeremy Roach didn't even have to have a big game.
Santos going down the lane for the slam. Coming up on the last 2 minutes here, 92-65. Duke really completely ran away with this thing early in the second half. Although Pitt was still way behind. That buried them. A 12-0 run by Duke to begin the second half.
Yeah, I think that was the most impressive part. You know, I believe everyone was expecting for Pitt to come back and make a strong run at the beginning of that second half. But the Blue Devils were having no parts of it. And again, that's the maturity of this team you're watching grow up. You know, on the fly. We talked about their freshmen. 5 freshmen in the mix for them in the rotation. Oh. That's just the type of afternoon it's been for the Panthers.
Diaz Graham unable to finish the slam. Wraparound pass, Reeves with his stuff. That's how you do that. And a minute 41 to go. Duke in full-time celebration mode. Actually, they have been for about an hour. And John Shire emptying his bench. Duke with 27 assists. That's an ACC tournament record for anybody all time.
And OB, this team is ranked 25th in the country. Come on, man. If that doesn't show the disrespect for the ACC more than anything does, you're trying to tell me that this team is ranked 25th nationally?
Right.
After winning 6 straight games, getting healthy, and all that they've done, the Blue Devils look poised for another strong march.
They sure do.
And we look at what has happened this year. Last season, you know, entering the ACC tournament, only 2 teams ranked, Duke and North Carolina, who both end up, of course, at the pinnacle of success last year. And then you think about only the 5 teams getting the NCAA tournament bid. 3 of those teams advancing to the Elite 8. Duke, North Carolina, both reaching the Final Four. Miami to the Elite 8. This season, we're expecting the same level of success from this ACC once they get to March, regardless of the disrespect from the national media and from the NCAA tournament committee.
I just think Duke's playing as well as anybody in the country.
They are. I mean, again, and you think about Duke, but this is a team that got blown away by Miami. That shows you how good Miami is. Virginia, of course, can beat anyone on any given night. They've beaten Baylor.
Nearly an Hubbard coming off the bench. That one launched again by Shute, who's been doing a lot of that since he came in.
And you also have to mention, even though this has not been the afternoon for Pittsburgh, this Pitt team went to Northwestern and beat them by 29. And I watched that game. Chris Collins is my guy. Chris Collins is great friends with Jeff Capel. And the fact that they're great friends is the only reason that it wasn't more than 29. Because Pitt had everything going for them in that game. That's the number 2 seed in the Big Ten. But yet, this conference continues to get disrespected.
Joey Brackett's pinning an 11 seed on the Pitt Panthers come NCAA tournament time. But their ACC tournament run is over. They'll pick up a 1 win and the 1 loss. Duke about to move on into the semifinals against Miami at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Virginia, Carolina, Clemson, and NC State coming up later on tonight to determine who moves into the semis.
Good opportunity to see bracketology by Joey Brackets, and you see Virginia's a 4, Miami and Duke as 5 seeds. NC State's a 10, Pitt is 11. North Carolina, of course, most likely will have to win the ACC tournament to get in. But Obi, this is my last ACC game of this year, and so I want to make sure that I let the world know, give me my 10 ACC teams. I'll take on any conference in the country.
There you go. And by the way, you've been saying that for a long time.
I've been saying it from day 1, and I firmly believe it from the beginning until now.
Well, pleasure being with you all season, partner.
My man, enjoyed it.
You're the best.
Same back to you.
Appreciate it so much. Our producer, Kim Belton, right there with us for so many outstanding days and nights. What an outstanding afternoon for Duke. 96-69. They roll past Pitt today.
They really have a strong performance by the Duke Blue Devils. Disappointing performance by Pittsburgh, but their season is not over. And I strongly believe that the Pitt Panthers will go out and represent the ACC extremely well in the NCAA tournament.
Duke with a season high 96 points and shooting 62% and an ACC tournament record 27 assists. As Jeff Capel leaves the court, John Shire and his team to celebrate a very, very impressive win against a fine opponent. Pitt 22 wins on the year. And let's go to Dre on the floor.
Thanks, OB. Here with Mark Mitchell. And Mark, listen, Coach Shire talked about how this team has a bit of a chip on its shoulder. How did you all play with that chip on your shoulder today?
Yeah, I think we just came out ready to play, man. You know, we knew the scout. We knew last time we didn't put our best foot forward against them. I think tonight we did that.
And some teams come in and they're kind of rusty. You talked about getting ready to play. How would you describe your practices and what led up to this performance?
Yeah, we've been going at each other the last few days, man. We've been getting a lot of good work in, and we just came out ready to play. It's been a long season, but I think we're at our peak right now, and it's showing.
We saw Kyle Filipowski go down earlier in the game with an ankle injury. He comes back and returns, drops 22 points. What's it like having him next to you as a teammate?
Man, it's always great having Kyle, man. He's a really good player. Obviously, when he went down with an ankle injury, I was a little scared, but I'm glad he came back and did what he did.
Tyrese Proctor as well with 10 assists. How would you describe the freshman class as a whole and how you all have grown together?
Yeah, I think we're just gelling right now, man. You know, over the course of the season, we just learn each other, and I think it's showing right now. Him having 10 assists, us just playing together, sharing the ball. When we do that, I don't think many teams can beat us.
30-point win. I'd say things are gelling really well. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Here's a look at our bracket as the